Hello, my name is Jessica Lowery, and my research summary was based on the effects of growth mindset. The title of my research article I used to base my paper off of was The Effect of Growth Mindset on School Engagement and Psychological Well-Being of Chinese Primary and Middle School Students, the Mediating Role of Resilience. This study looked at the relationship between positive education and how it relates to and if it can increase student academic performance and well-being. I'm currently a sixth grade teacher, and I really want to change my students' mindsets for a more positive one, connected to school engagement and increasing their academic performance. On this slide, you can see here what the research investigated. It investigates the growth mindsets, psychological well-being, school engagement, resilience, and school achievement. So before I can go any further, you need to know what a mindset is and the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed one. Your core belief about yourself is your mindset. This is something that everyone has. It just depends on if you have a growth one, which is the belief that learning can be developed and it can change, or a fixed one, which is the belief that your intelligence is predetermined and you are either smart or not smart and nothing can change that. Coming to middle school is really hard for a lot of my students, and I want to help them become successful learners by changing their mindset, which leads to the connection of school engagement, which for this study can be viewed as a positive education that focuses on students' well-being by promoting optimism, character strengths, and positive relationships, which all are characteristics of a growth mindset. I chose this research study so I can have the facts to back up my teaching methods and to give my students the answer to their question of why their mindset matters. Sixth graders are already going through so many overwhelming changes that it's necessary they have positive beliefs about themselves to not just give up when faced with a challenge. And these tools will lead them to become lifelong learners. The methods of research for this study, some of them can be seen here. It was completed on Chinese students from 5 different schools, their age ranging from 7 to 20 years old, with their average range of 13 years old, which focuses on middle school, which is what I teach. Because the study was conducted in China, they used Chinese versions of measuring school engagement, but also used Chinese translators to ensure the results of these measurements were in line with those of the English version. Before I reveal the results of the study, some limitations that I want to point out include the following shown here on the slide. I also want to point out the third one especially because there was no required dialogue for this study before the students began the questionnaire. And this I related to because of the PSSAs and the required dialogue for teachers to read the instructions without deviation is very, very strict when giving the PSSAs, and it could be seen as a limitation for the study. But overall, the study revealed all positive results and correlations for students with a growth mindset. As you can see, students with a growth mindset will have positive academic engagement and will outperform those with a fixed mindset. Some implications of the finding that it is more likely for a student in a positive education setting to have a successful learning experience with a positive academic achievement. This research study proves a positive relationship between growth mindset and positive student achievement. I believe that the research should also continue and investigate the relationship between a growth mindset, resilience, and adding motivation in a positive learning environment. Because students must have meaning and value in learning and their motivation to learn. Some connections to our course readings. I have the expectancy value theory, which relates to the importance of students' beliefs in themselves and their efforts, which is evident in this theory, which suggests that students need to believe their efforts will yield expected outcomes and that their outcomes are worth the effort. And this comes with the growth mindset and them believing that they can change and everything that they're doing with the growth mindset is worth their while. I also related this to the culturally responsive classroom management style. With this, the characteristic is the development of a classroom community of a positive identity and belief in one's success. So the teacher must really build the student's mindset with suggesting that everyone can succeed. And then the third bullet that I connected was learning from others, learning in a social context. This came from the video in Module 3, and it really connected to creating a classroom community through positive and growth mindset dialogue, that the teacher is constantly using dialogue that promotes a growth mindset. And then defining motivation, I mentioned that in the slide before, with intrinsic and extrinsic motivations from outside and internal. And then the self-determination theory, which we read about with the Ryan and Brown article. And it also states about students believing in themselves and students who don't believe in themselves and that they concede perform lower. And here are some quotes that focus on a growth mindset and motivation. They show that teachers can motivate students to learn and change their mindset to a growth mindset, but it takes time. And then the last slide that I have are the references that I used for the research article in this presentation. And that is the end. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.